Good morning. My name is Richard Bodenhausen. As interim provost and dean of the Honors College, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the inauguration ceremony of Westminster College's 19th president. Having been selected by the Board of Trustees to lead Westminster College into the future, Bethami Dobkin will officially assume the duties of Office of President during this ceremony. I want to start by thanking everyone who joined us yesterday afternoon at our inauguration symposium, which wrestled with the question, which values will endure in our digital world? The keynote address by Amy Loomis and the discussion that followed will set the tone for Beth's presidency and intellectual leadership. And I look forward to Westminster hosting and helping lead other similarly engaging conversations in the future. But this topic in particular, I think, speaks directly to the challenges and opportunities we will meet head-on during President Dobkin's tenure. In a world that is changing rapidly, almost beyond recognition, how do we keep our bearings? How will we evolve and do so in ways that are just and compassionate? How do we go forward boldly, unabashedly, holding firmly to our mission as educators of the whole person, the real person, the human person? In a world that is increasingly virtual, plugged in but cut off, I have great confidence that President Dobkin is the right leader to help us navigate this new world bravely, thoughtfully, and humanely. Today, we join together as a community to support her and join her in that journey. Included in that support are the Board of Trustees, faculty, students, staff, alumni, and members of our community. Each of these distinct constituencies contributes to the collective strength of Westminster College and lends its support and cooperation to our new president. We would also like to honor representatives of other institutions who are here today to celebrate this momentous occasion with us, including many who hail from St. Mary's College, where Beth served for the past 10 years. In addition, we welcome representatives from Notre Dame de Namur University, the University of San Diego, Howard University, Fairfield University, the Scripps Research Institute, Lewis University, as well as representatives from Weber State University, Salt Lake Community College, Brigham Young University, and the University of Utah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Dr. Julie Sullivan, president of the University of St. Thomas, and formerly provost during President Dobkin's tenure at the University of San Diego, sends the following greetings. Quote, "The President, Board of Trustees, and faculty of the University of St. Thomas extend congratulations to Bethami Dobkin upon her inauguration as the 19th president of Westminster College, with best wishes for every success given this 29th day of September 2018. I will join you in 1 minute to stand for the invocation, which will be given by Skye Ward, a dear friend of President Dobkin's from St. Mary's College. Skye is a cultural worker and social justice advocate who splits her time between her respective cultural arts communities in Oakland, California, and Paris, France. Her lifelong involvement in exploring the intersections of race, gender, economic exploitation, and the socio-political conditions among diverse communities in the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond are at the heart of her spoken word performances, digital media art, healing arts, and advocacy. Skye?
Greetings and respect. It is my privilege and profound joy to deliver the invocation for Beth Dobkin's inauguration. In honor of this auspicious occasion, I have selected an excerpt and a blessing written by the late philosopher and poet John O'Donohue. The text is taken from his book, To Bless the Space Between Us. Westminster College community and esteemed guests, may we welcome the wonder of this day, the field of brightness it brings. May our minds come alive today to the invisible geography that invites us to new frontiers. Beth, a reflection for you and for all the new relationships that blossom from your transformational leadership here at Westminster College. Let us reflect on this Celtic blessing by the luminous poet John O'Donohue. Blessing for a new position. May your new work excite your heart, kindle in your mind a creativity to journey beyond the old limits of all that has become wearisome. May this work challenge you towards new frontiers that will emerge as you begin to approach them, calling forth from you the full force and depth of your undiscovered gifts. Beth, may the work fit the rhythms of your soul, enabling you to draw from the invisible new ideals in a vision that will inspire. Remember to be kind to those who work for you. Endeavor to remain aware of the quiet world that lives behind each face. Be fair in your expectations, compassionate in your criticism. May you have the grace of encouragement to awaken the gift in the other's heart, building in them the confidence to follow the call of the gift. May you come to know that work which emerges from the mind of love will have beauty and form. May this new work be worthy of the energy of your heart and the light of your thought. May your work assume a proper space in your life. Instead of owning and using you, may it challenge and refine you, bringing you every day further into the wonder of your heart. Westminster College community and esteemed guests, may you all be well, may you all be blessed. Chant peace.
Please be seated. Good morning. My name is Heather Batchelor. Joining me as I welcome Bethami Dobkin as the new leader of our beloved college, our Staff Council Chair, Oliver Anderson, Alumni Board Chair, Mark Crowther, and Student Body President, Jasmine May. As a faculty, we are excited that our new president spent many years in the classroom as a communication professor at the University of San Diego and at St. Mary's College. Understanding the individual professor's experience will help her balance the competing but also interconnected interests of so many different departments. We are confident in her ability to see how these disciplines can intertwine, overlap, and bolster one another in the true spirit of the liberal arts, and to ensure that Westminster continues to provide a high-quality educational experience unlike any other in Utah. Our staff is looking forward to Beth's systematic review of our institutional culture and her objective approach to making the Westminster workplace the best it can be, focusing on diversity and inclusion, work-life balance, efficiency, innovation, recognition, and the resources and technology needed to do the best work possible. Our alumni, more than 20,000 graduates of all colors and creeds, living and working around the world, now entrust President Dobkin with their treasured alma mater, the place where they found themselves, found a path, found a passion. They care about preserving the essence and excellence of Westminster for future generations. And they care about making a Westminster education accessible to deserving first-generation college students and students from underrepresented and low-income backgrounds. And finally, our students. They are our present and our future. Whatever plans and promises we make, the quality of the student experience today is urgently important. Our students will carry this experience wherever they go for the rest of their lives. Students are excited about working with a president who will listen to their voice and value their input on campus. Many of us on campus have already had the pleasure of getting to know Beth's husband, Randy Ciotti. We welcome him, his enthusiasm, and his contributions to our community. And to Alexandra and Randall, Beth and Randy's children, we extend a warm welcome. Even though you're away at universities in Oregon and California, you have a home here too. President Dobkin, on behalf of the faculty, staff, alumni, and students, congratulations and welcome. We look forward to your leadership and to our future.
I have the pleasure of introducing you to Tammy Pfeiffer, who will speak on behalf of Governor Gary Herbert. Ms. Pfeiffer is Governor Herbert's education advisor, and we are honored by her presence here today. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Pfeiffer.
It's really a thrill for me to be here today. I am Tammy Pfeiffer, the Governor's Education Advisor, and I do want to express Governor Herbert's regrets for not being able to attend today due to some last-minute scheduling changes. I was asked to fill in for him, but President Dobkin, he asked that I pass along a letter of congratulations for you, and he would like to have you up to the Capitol to meet with us as soon as your calendar allows. Let me just offer a few brief remarks of my own. First of all, it's really exciting to be on campus of Westminster. You have your own unique spirit about the campus and feeling that is evident whenever I come here. And I'm delighted to be here in this particular ceremony to welcome President Dobkin to Utah. President Dobkin is the new leader of this venerable institution. You will have a great impact on not just the students here at Westminster, but the Salt Lake area and the state as a whole. It's not an exaggeration to say that Westminster College provides an experience and a community that is genuinely unique in the state of Utah. As the only private liberal arts college in Utah, Westminster offers an intensive educational experience that's both personalized and yet at the same time communal. It's a place for critical thinking, conscientious compassion, and interdisciplinary innovation. Its graduates are Olympic skiers, molecular biologists, journalists, nurses, teachers, entrepreneurs, community leaders, and parents, among so many other things. And whatever their role, they are both specialized in their field and broadly steeped in the liberal arts. And why is that so important right now, to have those characteristics as you graduate from Westminster? Well, Utah is having a moment. Our job growth continues to be the highest in the nation. Our population is growing faster than any other state. And if we look at regional migration patterns across the country, we see that Americans are moving mainly in two directions. South and West, people are coming to Utah. Our unemployment rate is a record low, which makes it difficult for employers to find a skilled workforce to fill their needs. In fact, that's probably the top concern we hear in the governor's office from our business and industry partners, that they need more skilled workforce and more skilled employees to keep up with their own company's growth and success. Westminster College contributes to the workforce with more than 900 graduates each year, many of them filling our most critical labor shortages in teaching and in nursing. And of course, it's important to have students that are graduating with those skills, those technical skills that meet the demands of the workforce. I believe that now, more than ever, we need young adults that are also prepared to be thoughtful, creative, kind, and engaged citizens who are positioned to change the world. And I don't use that phrase lightly. That's who we need, and that's who we see coming up through the ranks at Westminster College. Westminster graduates start their careers with more than just the technical skills that they were hired for. They bring a holistic skill set and mindset. They have been taught to understand the larger context of their work and consider their impact locally and globally. Through the service learning opportunities that are here at Westminster, they've learned how to bring their skills to bear on issues that matter to them outside of their profession, in their neighborhoods and their schools and their larger community. They're able to strengthen their workplace community and make it more effective, ethical, and compassionate. President Dobkin, Westminster College has an important role to play in shaping the future of this wonderful, industrious state, and you are key to that work. I read a little bit about you and your background in preparation for this, and was not just impressed and grateful for your academic accomplishments and leadership, but I was genuinely delighted to read about the variety of experiences that you've had outside of the classroom and academia on your pathway to becoming who you are. And of all of the interesting pathways and career opportunities you could have pursued early on, I am thrilled that you chose to be an educator, a mentor, a researcher, and a visionary leader. So in welcoming you to Utah, I also want to say thank you for recognizing early on, while you were studying barrister examination strategies during an internship in Australia, that a career in law did not make sense for you. The world is full of lawyers. Thank you for foregoing what would have undoubtedly been an exciting life as a foreign diplomat. You probably aced the foreign service exam that you took. And thank you for declining what certainly would have been a more glamorous life as a diamond appraiser. Although I would argue that you've worked for years to find and refine precious diamonds in the rough, as you will continue to do here at Westminster. And thankfully, you do not have to give up your equestrian habit. We have a lot of horses in Utah. Dr. Dobkin, we need your passion for diversity, equity, and inclusion in education. And as you noted in a recent interview, quote, "If Westminster can be the kind of place that brings together diverse people and perspectives to create a collaborative learning community, then it becomes a model for solving some of the world's toughest problems." End of quote. Amen. And that's why we need you here. On behalf of Governor Herbert, I am thrilled to welcome you as the 19th president of Westminster College.
I now have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Kristen Moran, who will share a few personal reflections with us about our new president. Dr. Moran was one of President Dobkin's students over 25 years ago, and after completing her baccalaureate degree at the University of San Diego, went on to complete her MA and PhD studies in communication studies from the University of Washington. Dr. Moran has served as department chair and USD's first core curriculum director, and is known for her research on Latino-themed television programs, children's and youth media, and the reception of Latino-themed and Spanish-language media in the United States, with special attention to the role media play in the identity development of children and adolescents. Please welcome Dr. Kristen Moran.
I am honored to be with you today and offer an introduction to your president and my friend, Dr. Bethami Dobkin. Many of you know Beth in her capacity as an administrator, as a strong leader who enables positive change at the institutional level, something that I am confident she will do at Westminster College. But I want to share a little something about Beth as a teacher and her journey that brought her here today. Beth Dobkin and I arrived at the University of San Diego in the same year, 1990. She was beginning her career as an assistant professor, and I was a first-year student excited to begin my life in college. When I was a student, Beth quickly became my favorite professor. She taught courses that were inspiring, the kind of class that makes you rethink everything you ever knew, the kind of class that you want to talk about with your roommate. I specifically remember taking gender communication, and on her spring 1994 syllabus, she wrote, "Gender structures our perceptions and activities. It communicates powerful messages about individual roles, norms, perceptions, and entitlement." I see that inspiring professor sitting here today and still offering those same lessons, just now on a bigger stage. I read Beth's commentary in the Salt Lake Tribune about Utah's female presidents, and I'm heartened that the convictions that she had as a professor have carried through to how she approaches this presidency. She states in that article, "Being identified as a woman should not and need not be a barrier to leadership." In fact, I would argue that Beth has demonstrated that successful leadership is because she is a woman who is dedicated to empowering others and creating a space for authentic communities to flourish. Beth Dobkin earned her PhD from the University of Massachusetts in Rhetoric and Social Order. It is this expertise that provides the foundation that informs her work. She is a masterful rhetor and skilled at persuasion, two traits that served her well both at St. Mary's and the University of San Diego. I also knew her when she was chair of the Communication Studies Department after I returned to USD as a faculty member. Even on that small scale, she demonstrated a grand vision for the department, which is probably why she was promoted to associate provost. It wasn't too long before she left USD for new opportunities, and while we knew we would miss her, we were not surprised. Beth Dobkin became the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at St. Mary's College of California in 2008. During her time at St. Mary's, they benefited from her vision for creating a diverse and inclusive community. She was the Senior Vice President who oversaw areas from enrollment management to information technology services. And while she served as Provost, St. Mary's achieved upward trends in enrollment and in retention, as well as a 15% increase in the 4-year graduation rate of first-time, first-year students. Further, she facilitated the acquisition of over $4 million in federal grants. And during her time at St. Mary's, she was elected to the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, Senior College and University Commission, the regional accrediting agency. As I reflect on Beth's past achievements, it is clear that she has been preparing for this exact future. She is a careful steward of financial resources, a fierce advocate for academic freedom, and strongly grounded in the liberal arts tradition. Westminster College will benefit from Beth's vision, her work ethic, her unwavering commitment to academic excellence, and her genuine desire to make higher education accessible to all. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the 19th President of Westminster College, Dr. Bethami Dobkin.
I am not Bethami Dobkin. I am here this morning as chair of the Board of Trustees. My name is Jeannie Ambrewster, and it is my privilege and pleasure to preside over the investiture of our 19th president, Dr. Bethami Dobkin. As board chair, I was engaged in the presidential search, along with other trustees and members of faculty, staff, students, and alumni. We naturally sought a leader whose spirit and values aligned with Westminster's. But we were also passionate about identifying someone whose vision and boldness would elevate us, raise our sights, and reimagine the possibilities for this college. At a time when higher education in general and liberal arts in particular, are being asked to prove their worth. Brave and confident leadership is more important than ever. In an era when new technologies are changing not only the way we learn, but the way we communicate, create, think, and even feel, we knew Westminster needed someone agile and adaptable, a champion of technological innovation, but also a protector of all of the special qualities that make us human. As we got to know President Dobkin, we could see that she got us, that she would fit in here. She had been a teacher herself for many years, a communications professor at St. Mary's College of California and University of San Diego, so she was intimately familiar with the close student-teacher relationships that are at the heart of our curriculum. As the provost and vice president of academic affairs at St. Mary's, she fortified the school's reputation for academic excellence and grew enrollment, graduation, and retention rates, while also maintaining the closeness of the college's community. So we could see that President Dobkin would uphold Westminster's core values and sustain the college's financial viability. But we could also see that she had a track record of making change, taking on big challenges and spearheading new initiatives. Her progress in promoting diversity and inclusion is particularly inspiring and very applicable to her new role at Westminster as the population of the Wasatch Front grows in size and richness. To some, diversity and inclusion might seem like a program, a topic, a training, even a trend. It is so much more than that. A more diverse future is our future, and how well we welcome and adapt to the changes that entails will determine our ongoing success. President Dobkin's op-ed in the Salt Lake Tribune, published her first day on the job, was about valuing diversity. She understands that diversity is not something to merely accommodate, not just a box to check. It is an asset. It is an advantage. When fully understood and nurtured, diverse viewpoints, backgrounds, and abilities spark innovation, bridge gaps, and will make for a richer and more humane future for us all. Bethami Dobkin, will you please join me at the podium? I am pleased to affirm that the Board of Trustees has selected Dr. Bethami Dobkin to lead Westminster as our 19th president. Beth, on behalf of Westminster College Board of Trustees, I am so pleased to welcome you and your husband, Randy, to our community. We share your passion for the power of education to develop human potential and create a more just world. And we have enormous faith in your ability to see us for who we are and how far we can go. The trustees charge you with the responsibility to hold this office with honor, integrity, and excellence. We will support you in your efforts to be a wise and ethical leader. We know that you will be mindful to inspire in others a commitment to learning, scholarship, and wisdom. We appreciate that your husband, Randy, will also be a significant partner with you in these efforts, and we welcome his passion and energy. As trustees, we are committed to being engaged with you and Randy as learners, as leaders, and as vital members of this very special community. Will Steve Morgan, the 18th president of Westminster College, please join me at the podium? We are now honored to present you with the Westminster College Ceremonial Medal of Office. This medallion represents the long history of the college and is passed to each succeeding president. The names and terms of office of each president of Westminster have been engraved on the back. The front of the medal is a rendition of Converse Hall, Westminster's iconic structure. The diamond that gleams from the center window atop the building represents the light of knowledge and learning. Therefore, as we place this medal upon your shoulders, let it symbolize the importance and weight of the office you now hold. By the authority vested in me as the chair of the Board of Trustees of Westminster College, it is my privilege to confer upon you, Dr. Bethami Dobkin, the presidency of Westminster College with all of the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Delegates and distinguished members of the Westminster community, I present to you President Bethami Dobkin.
To say this is a little overwhelming. Members of the Westminster College Board of Trustees, alumni, faculty, staff, and students, delegates from colleges and universities, honored guests from near and far, thank you for joining us today. I'm honored by the presence of Tammy Pfeiffer from Governor Herbert's office and grateful for the legacy built by Steve Morgan and all of Westminster's past presidents. I am deeply humbled by the generosity of benefactors who have and continue to support the college. This weekend has been something of a reunion with my St. Mary's and San Diego colleagues who have shared a fantastic journey with me. My gratitude extends to my friend and yesterday's symposium keynote speaker, Amy Loomis, and the Westminster colleagues who made it happen, Richard Bodenhausen and Aaron Coleman. To the generous comments of my former student, Kristen Moran, I owe her a hug. I will do that. And of course to my family, my brother and sister-in-law, Don and Mandy, my daughter, Alexandra, my son, Randall, and of course, my biggest fan, Randy, you know, the first dude. Two people for whom I owe significant gratitude are my parents, Betty and Milt Dobkin. My father, Milt, passed away about 2 years ago at the age of 94. My mother passed away 8 years prior to that. Their influence set me on the path that brings me here today. My mother grew up in California, fiercely independent and self-sufficient, the daughter of entrepreneurial Eastern European parents engaged in various businesses, including chicken farming. This was a big thing for Jews, Betty wrote, because in Europe, Jews mainly hadn't been able to own land, and even in Southern California then, there were whole areas and cities where it was illegal for Jews to live. She also called this venture a disaster. After the chicken ranch, her parents ran a gay bar in South Central LA until payments to the local vice squad became too high. Her father, my grandfather, then pursued and earned a law degree. A passion for justice, combined with a deep commitment to advancing the dignity of all people, was passed from my mother to me in countless ways as she forged her own careers, first as a teacher and later as a real estate broker. This focus on justice was a bit frustrating to me as a young girl because I contrasted her passion with my own protests about various family decisions. When I said, "But that's not fair," my mother sometimes responded, "Life's not fair." This little exchange about fairness illustrates an enduring conflict between the belief that we all exist in a world of equal opportunity. It's simply what we make of it. And the recognition that all things are never really equal. So my path has been one to support education that promises to make the world more equitable, more just, and more inclusive, recognizing both the power and promise of human potential and also the enduring challenges created by socioeconomic structures and historical circumstance. My father met my mother when she was a high school student and he a teacher at a neighboring high school. In the early 1940s, after earning a Civil Air Patrol's pilot's license, passing all tests for enrollment in the Army Air Force, and waiting to be called for active duty in World War II, Milt was ordered a good discharge. He protested in a letter to President Roosevelt, writing, "The one-man selection board sarcastically implied that I would not be accepted because my parents were born in Russia. I am a private pilot by Civil Aeronautics Authority license, and my dream has long been to strike my individual blow for freedom in my country's battle for life and liberty." Milt was eventually called to active duty, which he completed in 1945, and then earned a baccalaureate degree made possible in part by the GI Bill. While teaching at Beverly Hills High during a stint as a forensics coach, his principal told him to find a student to compete in an American Legion oratory contest. The rules required speaking from a manuscript in defense of the Constitution. When Milt's student got to the event, he gave an impassioned extemporaneous speech, because he'd left his manuscript at home, in defense of the Bill of Rights, in particular the right of free speech and the right of dissent. This was 1955, the height of McCarthyism, and Milt's superintendent was asked, "Who is this communist that allows his students to give these kinds of speeches?" While recognizing that my father was not a communist, the superintendent nevertheless asked Milt to resign, which he did. He moved his family north, eventually becoming vice president and interim president at Humboldt State University, where he remained an active member of the community until his death. Defense of free speech and the principles of democracy were central to his identity and values. He was giving civics lessons to his caregivers 2 days before he died. These commitments to democracy, informed citizenship, justice, equity, and inclusion, long cultivated and pursued by my parents, also inform everything that I do, and, I believe, have guided me to accept and embrace, with deep respect and humility, the presidency at Westminster College. Westminster's trajectory stretches back nearly 150 years, from beginnings as a college preparatory academy to junior college to baccalaureate institution to comprehensive university that retains the identity of a liberal arts college. Westminster began with an explicit Calvinist belief in education, for the tongue without the mind must be highly displeasing to God. Like most faith-based institutions, Westminster had an explicitly evangelistic mission to convert those who were different, at the time, namely, Native Americans, Hispanics, and Mormons. Westminster has long since abandoned its evangelistic mission, dropping the mandate of conversion while retaining the commitments to students and their intellectual engagement. And throughout Westminster's history, the college has emphasized personal and progressive education. There's an underlying optimism and willingness to innovate on behalf of all students. We, Randy and I, chose Westminster partly because of the history, values, and traditions of the college which align with our own. The place we chose needed to be a vibrant scholarly community dedicated to teaching and learning. It needed to be a place committed to inclusive excellence, the understanding that belief for human dignity and the pursuit of equity are fundamental to educational purposes, and the belief in serving a good greater than ourselves. It needed to be a place willing to explore and experiment in support of that greater good. It needed to be in a place Randy and I found physically compelling, a place where we'd want to live, a community where we'd want to build a life. We found these things in Westminster College. I've seen the impact of students who tell me that they've completed courses they never imagined they could pass, and alumni who talk about the incredible connections made and possibilities that opened up to them because of their Westminster experience, and in employers who rave about students who are self-confident, articulate, and able to transfer skills across many different contexts. We've also found a place ready to shape and claim a future and a hunger for a unifying vision. This day, for all its solemnity and pomp, is a celebration of this particular college and a change in leadership, but more importantly, of tradition and vision, and of the future we will craft together. At its core, Westminster is about developing people, bringing students together in community where they learn the freedom to think, the wisdom to know, and the aptitude to act. Each part in the Westminster education is indispensable to the others, and together, with our unique place, make Westminster a truly remarkable institution. First, the freedom to think is a foundation of the liberal arts. The value proposition of liberal arts colleges is under attack at the very time it is most needed. Part of the problem is the very word liberal. In public communication, increasingly truncated to tweets and labels, the word has been drained of substance, shutting down consideration of what it has traditionally meant. So set aside the politics of liberal arts just for a moment. We need to practice both the liberties and responsibilities of free thinking, which involves discovery of knowledge, breaking disciplinary boundaries, suspending judgment, and respectful engagement in difficult conversations. There's great work being done here in these areas across campus, from the W Corps to team teaching in the Honors College, to our hybrid courses at graduate and professional levels. In talking about the master's program in strategic communication, Our faculty colleague, Curtis Newbold, writes, "We're essentially liberating students to discover how learning works in a very uncontrolled, unpredictable environment. We need to continue pushing disciplinary boundaries, encouraging connections and collaboration, and make what students study in college truly span all academic disciplines. As a teaching institution dedicated to access and success, our faculty must be willing to stretch their own ideas of learning and collaboration so that they become conversant not just in the disciplines in which they earned their own degrees, but in a range of intersecting disciplines. They must become increasingly skilled in the ways of thinking and learning that bring disparate perspectives and people with diverse life experiences into conversation. The success of these conversations depends on whether students are motivated to participate in them. When students feel respected and valued, free thinking, discovery, and exploration happen at their best. Truly free thinking requires inclusive communities because our restrictions, boxes, and mindsets are liberated when we engage with others in ways that call us to connect, empathize with, and understand those who challenge us. The more we cultivate curiosity and creativity, perforate disciplinary boundaries, and bring diverse students together to solve problems, the more relevant their educational experience will be to all kinds of future work environments and to living a fuller life. Next, we must cultivate the wisdom to know, the ability to sift through overwhelming amounts of data, evaluate their integrity, synthesize knowledge, and develop a worldview that, while remaining open to the possibility of challenge, provides one with a set of enduring values and purpose with which to move through the world. Wisdom is a quality of human development. It comes with education, testing, evaluating, connecting ideas. It comes with reflection. It comes in knowing and respecting the past while understanding the dynamics that have been created for the present. It comes with sometimes entrusting Google's search algorithm to find relevant and trustworthy information, while also understanding when we ought to look elsewhere. The wisdom to know is where experience meets ideas, where context informs interpretations, and where people develop the cultural agility necessary to thrive in a globalized economy. Reclaiming wisdom, like liberating thinking, is a tall order. Faculty have to help students sift through information pressed on them every day from myriad sources, reliable and unreliable, and mentor them in ways that help them develop a moral compass, avoiding the evangelism of the past, while supporting an ethic of care and pursuit of greater good. Westminster College, for some time now, has been encouraging the freedom to think, pushing the boundaries of disciplinary study, and providing approaches to knowledge that cultivate wisdom. We must also develop the aptitude to act, the entrepreneurial mindset that combines technical ability with the willingness to seize opportunity, the leadership capacity to step in and step up. Many institutions that focus on the freedom to think and wisdom to know stop short of this third piece, the aptitude to act. They rightly tout how liberal arts can be applied, how skills are transferable. At Westminster, we mentor students along career trajectories from the moment they matriculate. We value and integrate the expertise they bring to their educational programs, and we promote community and project-based learning. I'm asking for more. I'm asking to become the best private college in preparing students for flexible, adaptive, and ethical leadership. At Westminster, the freedom to think, wisdom to know, aptitude to act are cultivated by a learning community that recognizes both the importance of human relationships and our connections to the physical environment. This is the advantage of a small college like ours, which already has the learning communities that other institutions are now trying to replicate. We facilitate real-time conversations and social connections that have lifelong cognitive benefits, collaborative learning that contributes to the development of higher-level thinking capabilities. And I was going to take that down before I spoke, but I thought Sheila would get really mad at me.
Thank you, Richard.
That feels so liberating. The challenges of intellectual engagement, problem solving, and working with novel concepts and skills in collaborations with others changes brain structure, improves neuroplasticity, and creates a cognitive reserve that preserves mental functioning later in life. The needs to connect with others, to develop a personal identity that is acknowledged and respected by others, and join in communities of shared values and pursuits are timeless. One Westminster student I spoke with last week talked about how she valued being pushed outside of her comfort zone, understanding the complexity of identities and social structures, while also coming to realize the deep connections and desires that people share. All people, at some point in their lives, seek identity, community, and purpose. There is no better place to develop one's identity in relation to others, no better place for a young person to grow up, no better place for a working professional to redefine oneself and build community than at Westminster. Westminster boasts a final quality which I mentioned a few minutes ago, an irresistible and beautiful natural environment. Westminster's education is compelling because of its stunning physical location, which inspires action, creativity, and care for the environment. It reminds us of a world greater than ourselves and the importance of physicality and lived experience in understanding humanness. We have a beautiful, dynamic, and vibrant world right here, where we can continue to connect programs in science, health, education, and leadership to our place in the Intermountain West. Westminster is poised to take advantage of a region that is growing and diversifying in people and industries, a country built on creativity and innovation, and a world looking for the next generation of ethical and adaptive leaders. The freedom to think gives students mental agility and analytical reasoning. The wisdom to know brings compassion, creativity, and cultural intelligence. The aptitude to act creates leaders who can build the communities that will solve today's problems and those we have yet to imagine. And at a time when our social and political institutions seem the most imperiled, we need to provide education that reclaims our common humanity and restores our faith in democracy. Claiming this future will require investments in our students, in scholarships to promote access, and in the faculty and staff who ensure their success. We will need greater support for faculty as they stretch disciplinary boundaries, integrate new technologies, facilitate difficult classroom dialogues, and collaborate with students and each other. We will need to explore more robust pathways to a Westminster education, not only from transfer initiatives, but through educational and corporate partnerships, programming for parents and families, summer activities, and community outreach. We will need greater integration of data literacy in our curriculum, data analytics in our decisions, and technological advancements in service of our students. We will need to attract a large and diverse enough student population to support creative collisions and collaborations, to build a performing arts edition that allows greater artistic and physical exploration, to increase engagement with regional businesses and nonprofit organizations where students can prepare, explore, fail, and learn to lead. This can be Westminster's moment with your support. We are a small college in a big city in a wider world. We are geographically spectacular. We combine traditional disciplines of business education, liberal arts, and nursing with innovative, practical approaches to discovery and leadership. We leverage the power of place with a learning community that challenges students to explore, inspires them to create, and prepares them to lead. We create educational opportunity so that people working together can think freely, know wisely, and act powerfully to create a world of beauty, integrity, and joy. Like some of the stories my parents used to tell, some of my most memorable ones are those about students. I remember a brilliant graduate student with awful handwriting and telling him on his last essay exam, "It's a good thing the words I can't read are adjectives." I remember the morning of 9/11, retrieving a voicemail with the lonely, plaintive voice of a former student. "Dr. Dobkin, what's happening to the world? I don't understand. I need to be in your class right now." I remember the conversation I had with a Westminster student last week who asked, "President Dobkin, how are you going to bring more women into the sciences?" We have great problems to solve and great possibilities to imagine as we move forward in this rapidly changing world. No one can do it alone, but we can do it together. We are Westminster. Let us begin. Thank you.
make it a better place. I'm gonna make it a safer place. I'm gonna help the human race with my own two hands. With my own two hands. With my own two
Thank you, chamber singers. I'm Preston Chiaro. I'm the vice chair of the Westminster College Board of Trustees, and I was also honored to chair the Presidential Search Committee that found a new president to lead the college into a new era. An era where we stake our claim as the liberal arts institution of the Intermountain West. As champions and defenders of the liberal arts and residential higher education, and as interdisciplinary innovators and promoters of our own humanity. This new era will shape the lives of thousands of students, and those students will go on to change the world. I want to thank everyone who participated on the search committee, my fellow trustees, and the entire campus community for your help in launching this new era and welcoming our new president and first dude to Westminster. We invite you to all join us for the celebratory luncheon and other festivities immediately following these proceedings. On behalf of the entire Westminster College community, past and present, those assembled here today, and those with us in spirit, it is my distinct and great pleasure to formally recognize Bethami Dobkin as the 19th president of Westminster College. Now, if I could please ask you all to rise for the benediction, which will be offered by Reverend Scott Dalgarno of Wasatch Presbyterian Church. Reverend?
Such an honor to be the caboose at the end of a morning so thick with tradition and ritual. President Dobkin has given us our collective charge. So finally, in the words of the wonderful French philosopher Frédéric Amiel, let us remember that life is short, and we have not much time to gladden the hearts of those who traveled away with us. So be swift to love, make haste to be kind. Let us now go in peace to celebrate such a delicious new beginning. Amen, Namaste, Tashi Dalek, and Shalom.